Why so ScreenRant? Get it? Because of what Joker says in The Dark Knight. Oh no, we overexplained it again. Anywho, hi ScreenRanters, hope you're all well. Recently, the Joker film was released to an overwhelming reception from the audience.
Can you introduce me as Joker?
In today's trivia video, we're going to take a look at how Phoenix got into the mind of the iconic character. We're going to touch upon his massive weight loss, the research he did, and many more. Finally, there might be spoilers for the film. Watch at your own risk. Actors are well versed in suffering for their art, such as Adrian Brody selling his possessions and breaking up with his girlfriend for The Pianist, or Tom Holland actually irradiating a spider and making it bite him. Alright, we may be fudging the truth a tad on that last one, but we chose to believe it. Joaquin Phoenix also took part in some artistic suffering. Not only did he lose a lot of weight for the infamous role, more on that later, he also took part in some stunts for the Joker. Before the film was released, a behind-the-scenes video began circulating on the internet. This video shows Phoenix in his Joker purple attire running through the streets of New York. During his dash, Phoenix chucks himself into a taxi before rolling off and hitting the ground. He then gets up and begins sprinting again. Some actors may prefer to use a stunt double, especially when smacking themselves into a vehicle. However, in order to get the authentic experience, Phoenix was more than happy to do certain stunts himself, and it definitely paid off. When researching the role of Arthur Fleck and the mental health issues he has,
all I have are negative thoughts.
Phoenix explored the medication the character was on. With those types of meds, it's not uncommon for people to go extremely up or down in their weight as a side effect. In order to highlight this, Phoenix decided to lose some weight for the role. He hired a nutritionist that restricted him to 500 calories a day. That's 2,000 less than an average man should have. Altogether, he lost 52 pounds, or around 3.5 stone for those using the Imperial system. Due to this weight loss, Phoenix discovered some other effects. For starters, his general body movement changed, which came into effect for the dancing and running scenes. However, the rapid weight loss also began to affect him psychologically, and not in a good way. How, you may be thinking? Well, stay tuned because we're going to tell you in 3, 2, 1. Ta-da! Smooth segue. Good for us. High fives all around. As we just mentioned, Phoenix's mental health diminished during the filming of the Joker. A lot of the cause was down to the rapid weight loss. Phoenix stated during the Venice Film Festival that he started to go mad. So, on top of having to get into the mind of Arthur Fleck, Phoenix struggled with his own mental health. During an interview with Jimmy Kimmel, the host chose to play an outtake from the Joker. In it, Phoenix is arguing with Larry, the cinematographer, Lawrence Sher, about being called a diva. Phoenix switches opinions in the outtake that hint to a possible struggle with his mind at the time. After the outtake was played, Phoenix is shown as being really embarrassed from that clip being shown to the public. Following the interview being shown on TV, Phoenix's camp released a statement. They disclosed that the whole interview was actually a joke by Phoenix, and a similar effect to his interview on Letterman for his mockumentary I'm Still Here. However, many don't buy that statement as Phoenix doesn't gain much from the interview being a stunt. Marvel actors are encouraged to read comics involving their characters. Just look at Benedict Cumberbatch.
Doctor, it's strange.
He wandered into a comic book shop in full Doctor Strange costume during a filming break. That's how you get the comic fans on your side. Bless him and his goatee. For Phoenix, it was a very different story. In fact, he actively avoided comics during the Joker's development. The Gladiator actor was a childhood comic fan. He even has the issue of Wolverine's first appearance in his collection. For Phoenix to avoid the source material for his character, it must have been a tad tricky. Aside from Phoenix, director Todd Phillips also took this approach. As he and Scott Silver were writing the script, they didn't want to take a comic story and adapt it. Instead, create a self-contained, non-superhero-y movie. Yet there are some similarities to a couple of well-known comic stories. Those being Alan Moore's The Killing Joke and Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns. But on the whole, the film origin of the Joker is very different to the comics. No chemical vat that he falls into and morphs into the Clown Prince of Crime. Instead, the broken Gotham society did that. Superhero films and massive budgets go hand in hand. Take a look at Avengers Endgame. They had a huge estimated budget of $356 million, and they did all right at the box office as a result. In comparison, the Joker film had a budget of only $55 million, which ruled out a lot of big superhero action sequences. Instead, the film focuses on the character development of Arthur Fleck, something which attracted Phoenix to the role. Throughout his career, Phoenix has been intrigued by projects that have a smaller budget, especially when those films explore the character's psychology. Take 2013's Her, for example. The critically loved film had a budget of only $23 million. The performance that Phoenix gave is considered one of the best of his career. During an interview, Phoenix would go on to state that the passion that Todd Phillips had for the Joker was, in part, what motivated Phoenix to sign on. He later goes on to say that the budget is irrelevant, and what's important are characters with real-life struggles. Throughout the film, Fleck is seen writing and reading his journal. He uses it to document his thoughts and feelings. Fleck also used it for writing jokes for his stand-up routine. Instead of the journal's entries being created by the prop department, it was Phoenix himself that doodled away in those pages. During an interview, he mentions that the journal was given to him by Todd Phillips. He encouraged Phoenix to write in it in order to get into the mind frame of Fleck. To begin with, Phoenix had no idea what to write about. He asked Phillips for direction and what to do. After a few days of getting help, Phoenix soon ignored Phillips' suggestions, as now Phoenix had found the mental flow of the character. Some roles come attached with a lot of pressure, such as portraying historical figures. That comes with a lot of expectations. However, we can also add comic book characters to the pressure list. The avid fans of the illustrated pages can be difficult to win over. Just look at all the actors that wore the Batman cowl. Or Heath Ledger, for example, was another such victim of fans' rage when his casting was announced. But once he donned the face paint, the fans quickly changed their minds.
Let's put a smile on that face.
On the other side, Phoenix couldn't care less about what the fans think. During an interview, he stated, "I don't really think that much about what people think. Who cares?" Yet Phoenix isn't indifferent about everyone's opinion for the Joker. There is one person in particular that he does need recognition from, that being Todd Phillips. Phoenix stated in an interview that he has experienced anxiety when worrying about what the writer-director is thinking during projects. In one example for the Joker, Phoenix was creating Fleck's disturbing laugh. Before trying it out on set with many people about, he auditioned the laugh to only Phillips. He tried variations until both he and Phillips were happy with the cackle. Practice makes perfect. In order to understand the role he was going to portray, Phoenix did what all good students do: study. Phoenix wanted to get into the mindset of Arthur Fleck. He researched forums on the various medicines that Fleck was on, also that he could understand the effects. On top of that, Fleck is shown as having a condition that causes him to laugh uncontrollably. Phoenix watched video after video of people that have that same condition. Phoenix avoided studying the filmic adaptations of Joker, so no Heath Ledger, Jack Nicholson, and so on. Instead, he watched the film that originally inspired the creation of the Joker character, that film being 1928's The Man Who Laughs. And there are quite a few similarities between Arthur Fleck and Gwynplaine. Since Phoenix has received so much praise for his performance, all that studying turned out pretty well for the former Johnny Cash. Once you've seen the Joker, you might be reminded of another famous filmmaker, that influence being Martin Scorsese. And not just because Robert De Niro is in the epic, he's in a lot of Scorsese's films, but we're referring to the film's style. Todd Phillips is a self-confessed big admirer of the Oscar-winning director. In any interview, he mentioned the Scorsese films that had an impact on the Joker's birth, those being 1982's The King of Comedy and 1976's Taxi Driver. When the film was first announced, the rumor mill churned with speculation that Scorsese was set to be involved in some capacity. Unfortunately, he was unable to be an executive producer due to his commitments to the upcoming film The Irishman, but that didn't stop him from being involved in an unofficial capacity. Once the script was finished, Phillips wanted Scorsese's thoughts, so he sent him the script. They had a chat, which led to Phillips asking if he could hire Scorsese's producer, Emma Tillinger-Koskov. Koskov has worked with Scorsese since 2006's The Departed. Phillips later described her as the Queen of New York. Scorsese gave his blessing. So while he couldn't be there in person, Scorsese was able to vicariously be there through Koskov. A big theme of the Joker is about a person whose life falls into dire straits. Society wears Fleck down until he finally snaps. Fun. It's something that Phoenix can relate to. In 2008, after appearing in the film Two Lovers, he disappeared from the film world. He apparently quit the profession. In 2009, Phoenix announced that he was going to pursue a rap career, all as a way to reclaim his fallen celebrity. In the lead up to the release of the film I'm Still Here, he was infamously interviewed by David Letterman. It was weird. Like really weird. However, it later turned out to be a massive hoax. The film was actually a mockumentary, not the documentary it was made out to be. The whole experience was some kind of performance art. Once the film was sent out to the public in 2010, it was critically panned. As a result, Phoenix retreated from the public eye. He wouldn't be seen in another film until 2012's The Master, from which he reclaimed his former glory as a prolific acting talent. However, the experience of I'm Still Here wasn't a complete waste for Phoenix. He stated that he found the experience liberating to some degree. It's almost like the whole of Phoenix's career has led to him taking on the role in the Joker. And that's a wrap. So what did you think of the Joker? Did you love it or did you hate it? Leave your thought bubbles in the comment section below, or since it's a Joker film, write a joke instead. Then subscribe and click the little bell. It helps to keep up to date on all our ScreenRanty goodness. Don't forget to click like too. Thanks for joining us today.